So I'm doing a quiz because honestly, I'm kind of curious what my soul color is. Now, before, when I was doing this, I got determination, but I felt like I moved too fast. So this time for this video, I'd rather be more patient and actually think about. I'm gonna actually take time to reflect, And I think it'll be an interesting experience to see, especially if some of you guys are curious. And due to me being an Undertale fan, I could not pass this up for anything. So this quiz is called Undertale. What is the color of your soul remastered by Calamity Colas. Welcome to the quiz. Before we can begin, I need to go on a brief preamble. The quiz is directly based upon my own headcanon's interpretation of Undertale as a work. It has additional non-canon traits that try to be in line with the rest of the game without being too fanony, such as hate or fear traits. Oh, I didn't know that was in there. I didn't read this part, by the way. For lack of a better term, if you'd if you'd rather not seek the quiz with non-canon traits, this is not the right quiz for you. Sorry. This is also a remake of a quiz that I made in 2021, which is very outdated now. A vast majority of the questions makes no sense, and there is a heavy kindness bias due to the error I made while creating it. This is the preferred quiz now. If you are here because of that, hello, welcome back. Sorry that you're being forced to take another quiz. As an additional note, this quiz expects you to have the knowledge of both games, the Undertale Deltarune franchise. So that's what UTDR means, Undertale Deltarune. I was wondering if people kept saying that, but you are free to skip these questions if you desire. Anyways, without further interruption, the question will not affect your results. Alright, let's begin. What is your favorite food? I like buffaloing, so wouldn't that go into salty? Yeah, I think it'd either go into salty or sweet. Yeah, salty. What character do you share the most negative qualities with? Negative qualities? No, I feel like negative qualities can be anything. I would say Sans. No, I'm not trying to sound like every other Sans fan. It's really due because I think I am. I don't know. Like I feel like I am lazy, right? I'm lazy, especially for when this is all I do. I'm mainly chronically online, and then I don't figure things out unless it's too late. Like I literally had occurrences in my past where, I think it even happens like think about like a couple, not couple, a majority of months ago. There was people that did so many signs, so many things that were obvious that were bad, and then I didn't do anything about it. You know, I didn't until like it was the time where it's like, okay, I gotta strike it down, and it makes me feel so dumb for not like taking out the trash sooner. You know what I'm saying? Offensive thing to say. The people that done they're not trash. I'm pretty sure they can move people if they actually tried. But I feel more relatable when it comes to negative qualities. I would say chance to actually do something about it. Um, Azrael. No, I mean you can argue some of the characters too. I'm really nice, right? Too nice probably, and too open. Like you can even argue. I don't know what kind of negative quality. Has to be due to my laziness and me trying to power through. So that's why I would say I'm more related to Sans. Maybe I'm more like Noel, where I used to be. So I guess I kind of don't fall into that no more. Where I'm always so open to accepting everything that's giving to me, or I'm very shy. But of course, I broke out that shell now that I'm doing content creation, right? Metaton. What was the thing about Metaton? What, they always wanted to be like the center of attention or something? Were they? I don't really see that as a bad quality. I mean, what was the problem with Metaton? Huh. Burley. I never really seen an issue with Burley's character other than he's like so obnoxious, or at least he tries to be. Papyrus. I think Papyrus is actually pretty decent character. Maybe he's naive. I can say I share that trait with him. I share the naiveness and I share the laziness for Sans. But eventually, like I said, I break through that because I always sit back and judge. So I would probably right now. Sans is calling my name. Alphas are smart, have made mistakes, um, and try to hide them. I'm more open and truthful than that, so I don't think. Don't even know who Chris is, to be honest. Like this man is, he chooses to be a mystery. I mean, sounds like he does things his own way. Like I think the Delta in chapter 3 where like, he might swing what's it called, sing slurs is insane. Having to fight against himself because we as the player keep making decisions. I know it's kind of like out of the box here, but Asgore, and this is where I would probably say I share the positive traits of him, to be honest. Which I know there's a question for that that's about to come up. Last time I did this. Um, I would have to go with Sans. I feel like I shared this entirely. Right. Positive. Well, I would have to say Asgore. His need for wanting to do what's right for other people and is trying to make things right with everybody, no matter what, or at least trying to appeal to everybody, regardless of the consequences. And do feel like I kind of get it. I just don't have the aspect of like, yeah, I do want to help people. I want to help my friends, and I do want to help people. That's always something that always went through my mind. And I know it's probably gonna be tough to do, especially when the way how I grew up, I don't really know how to really say I can or know how. Now I could do what most of my friends say, and they say I have like a lot of charisma, which I don't know any characters here that probably. Okay, maybe Friskar and Chris, maybe they're charisma type, but that's because that's player influence. Obviously, Frisk and Car don't. I don't even. Kara, yeah, it makes sense. Frisk, nah. Frisk is like controlled by a player 24/7. But I mean, I can't excuse like what they're capable of doing, like their actions. I would have to say Asgore. Yeah, I'm gonna say Asgore. Would you open a dark fountain? If so, why? No, the roaring is a possible consequence. I think that might be the thing that might be stitched into my mind. No, I wouldn't be determined enough to. Me determined enough to open a fountain? Nah, I feel like I'm too my own horn. I think I would be able to, but I don't know. Probably not. No, I don't see the potential benefit from it. Yeah, that's kind of how I would feel because it just sounds like the roaring. I wouldn't care enough to. Oh, I just wouldn't care enough to. Yeah. Yes, it'd be funny. Escape. That's a to me. That's selfish thinking to escape reality for a bit, knowing that you could cause like the end of the world. Yes, I do it because of curiosity. Yes, I do it because I could. Oh wow. Um. Yeah. So roaring being the potential consequence, I rather not. You know what I'm saying? Like knowing that you could disrupt everything. Don't get me wrong. It would be awesome to escape reality. I think anybody would probably want that. Like if you could make your world true, I bet you would. But I gotta think about the people and the reality of it. You know, pick a flag from ball game. Red, you try as you might, you continue to be yourself. Yeah, this screams a lot about me. Orange, you are you are the kind of person who rushes fist first through all obstacles. I would say in games, maybe I don't know. Yellow, you surefire accuracy put an end to mayhem of ball. Green, your concern for ball led to a delicious victory. It's a ball. I'm not gonna care about that. Light blue, ball is small. You waited still for this opportunity. Then dethrone ball with a sharp attack. That sucks though. I mean, I hate games that do that. Then again, it's like obviously it's for games to continue. You would have to be patient instead of dealing with it head on or your own way. Blue, hopping and twirling. Your original style pulled you through. I know a lot about that back then. Purple, even when you felt trapped, you took notes and achieved the end of ball. Okay, so blue and purple and red. I will admit, even though it's probably like plastered, it's gonna be plastered out the channel a lot. Yes, I do try as I might, and I continue to be myself because I don't see what else I would want to be. You know, I think being anything else doesn't feel like me. Being my little joyful self with they call me the Saturn or the strongest kaiju and fiction character, OC, persona, whatever. It's it's so nice. It's something I just cannot get rid of. That's why I love being myself, but then people just make me don't feel like it's great being myself. But I'll pick red. In the intro of Delta Ruin, what did you pick when asked about how you feel about the vessel, or what would you pick? I feel hope. I know, shocking. The character that I have is all about like love and all this. It's always been hope for me. Watch me like find out later that I was wrong and I picked something else. I better have like seeing the question. I know for a fact I picked hope. Think about it. If you were Frisk, would you actually be able to forgive Azrael for what he did as Flowey? Be honest. Why would I not? It's not like it's Azrael's fault. I'd forgive him, but I wouldn't comfort him. I guess I wouldn't forgive him, and I wouldn't. I guess probably wouldn't care one way or another. What are these questions? Yeah, I'd forgive him and comfort him. I wouldn't forgive him, but like it's not like it's his fault. That's the thing. If I knew that, oh wait, so the reason why this happened was because you were soulless, you were empty. So this would lead me to think like, yeah, this is not bro's fault. Ever played not watched a YouTuber or a friend through the genocide no mercy route? Did you beat it or did you give up? Okay, so it's been so long ago. Oh my gosh. I think this is like around the time I was like just knowing about Undertale, and then I wanted my grandmother to buy it for me. Um, it was so annoying, but I know for a fact I beat Sans because I remember like me exiting my grandmother room, using the restroom, and coming back to see like text on my screen. It was just a black dark. Like it was clear that I beat it. So yes, I won. It took me a lot of tries, but I won. If you played the genocide slash no mercy now, why didn't you play? If you didn't, why didn't you? Um, I played because I was curious. I played because I heard it was difficult. I played it because it was fun. I played it because I wanted to see everything the game had to offer. I didn't play it because I feel bad for the characters. I did not feel that way at all. I didn't play it because I thought the route was boring. I didn't play because I thought the route was too difficult. Now, obviously, when you're a kid, you're curious. You're just curious. You're curious in a lot of things, and so that was like mainly me. But I seen a video, so it's not that I heard it was difficult, but there's two options I really could pick here because I was curious. No, I wasn't really curious because I seen it, so I played it because I wanted to see everything the game had to offer myself. Choose light or dark. If I had a choice, and I've been telling my friends this, I would pick a darkener. What object would I be? I mean, I don't know. Probably like a little like statue of my character, like a Buddha statue of my character. Since in part two, like he uses power is vessel Buddha chaos. So if I did, I would actually want to be a darkener, even though obviously others are probably say like, no, your character seems more light. I mean, like yeah, he is, but I personally would just go darkener. Oh, would you rather have hopes or dreams? If I let myself have my dreams, it would be so selfish. But I'd rather have hopes. The next few questions will force you to pick between yes and no. Choose to the best of your ability. Do you believe being blunt and direct all the time is a good thing? If I say yes, I'll be lying, right? I'd be lying to myself because don't like yes, I've always been blunt with people. I've always been direct, and you got to be careful on who you're talking to. Because last time I tried this, like my friend understood the reality, but he felt like I just didn't care. And I'm just like, no, no, I do care. And it took me so long to just not use my like, me being like serious, like telling him bluntly, and just like soften it. So no, it's not a good thing. Do you consider it extremely important to never show fear or weakness for the sake of others? This is a weird question for me. I've always been the person, but back then it was like that, right? But now it's like, why pretend to be something you're not? What do you gain? I mean, yeah, you get looked up to, and you get seen as someone not to be joked around. But at the same time, it's like, do you really want that shell? Do you want to be seen as that? It must be hard to pretend to be some warrior when you have so much pain inside you that you just can't let out or let go. So this kind of is on a depends scale. But if I had to pick, mostly when it comes to my feelings, no, I don't find it important not to feel. It's always okay to feel fear. It's always okay to have weakness. But as long as you stand up and be there with the people that you have this feelings for, this care for, I think you can go through anything, even if you show the emotion or not. Do you desire something so intensely that you do anything to achieve/attain it? For my project, yes. I would literally do anything. Like, I kid you not. Even if it's a slow process, which I gotta break the habit of, I gotta stop being lazy. I will achieve that. I most certainly will. Are the more implications of the decisions important to you? Of course. Do you believe everyone should be respected and treated kindly, even if you disagree or hate them vehemently? Yes, because not everyone's a perfect person. No one will never be perfect. No one's ever going to be the same. And one person's belief may not be the same as the other, even though I full heartedly believe, like, think about the reality of it. Like, you can't, don't think about, like, what you believe is or what other people believe are, beliefs are, but rather of, is it really going to do harm? Is it really going to do damage? Could it realistically do harm you, basically? But yes, I do believe that everyone should be respected and treated kindly, even if you disagree with them or hate them. Do I have a good intuition? I would honestly say I'm late on that. You know what I mean? It's like, it depends. So most of the time, and it's probably going to be obvious throughout my content before and after, my intuition stumbles. It lacks a lot. It's only when, like, I don't even know. I don't know if it's like my ADHD or what, but it's very late. So I would say no. Do you have faith, whether that be in a higher power or other people? Of course. Do you consider yourself deep and introspective? Let me go look this up. Hold on. So, as far as I understand introspective, I don't know. It's so strange because then it's kind of like the opposite of what I'm doing now, isn't it? Because I'm open to everyone else, and it's because of the fact that when I explain to my own friends or people that surround me already, it's like they get it, but they don't. It's so strange. So that's why it's always good to always, have it out. No. But there's so much in my head that I plan out. There's so much in my mind that's just like there. Like I have this whole Trello board full of stuff. Like you won't believe. So it's a strange answer. I would say I'm introspective. But then again, you can argue that I'm not. And there's so much more that I really haven't conveyed yet. So yes, I would consider myself deep and introspective. Perceptive? I would say yes because I try to perceive a lot of situations that are presented to me. I wouldn't say I'm the best at reading them, but I do perceive them a lot. You know, it's like I try to understand the basis, and just like I mentioned earlier, with like the positive trait. I mean, sorry, the negative trait was like sands. It's I'm so late to doing something about it. Like I see it, I notice it, and I let it go on for way too long. So yes, I would say I'm perceptive. Do you believe it's important to be sincere in what you do? Yes, full heartedly. Are you positive, or do you at least try to be positive during the worst days? Yes, I try to keep myself. And it's not good for anybody to do. It's not. It's I try to be positive even during the worst because like have to say it's only because of my position and I could make it better, but then I choose to sit there and not. So why not just have it better since I'm choosing the option that doesn't make it better? Do you believe yourself as a powerful, influential, noteworthy presence if you don't intend to? Well, I would. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know how much of a great effect I have. I've been discussing this with my friend Willie about it, and they tell me like, "Well, you won't know. You don't know if you did or you don't." And that's why it's hard for me to say like I really I can't describe myself as someone that have a powerful or influential or noteworthy presence. I feel like yes, anything that someone does, you can influence or affect anybody. But I don't think, or at least I don't believe, I have that power to influence other people. At least not yet. I don't see it. But even if I do or don't intend to influence anybody, I don't have a choice because the things that anybody does, someone, anyone, adult or not, can look at what you're doing and of course feel they feel influenced by it. They feel like they can do it too. Or they feel like they can something sparks within them to feel as though like there's this power, this faith, this strength. So do I believe myself to have a powerful, influential, and noteworthy presence? Um, no, I genuinely don't feel like I do. I haven't seen no cases, so of course not. No. Do you consider yourself free and unburdened? Free? Nah. If I was free, I'd be a whole different. I'm working with what I got to consider myself as free. You know what more free could I have? I'm an unemployed person doing YouTube, so and well, texturing and kind of getting an art and drawing and such. But it's not like I have to pay bills or anything. So what more freedom could I have? But Unburdened. What does unburdened mean? Hold on. Free and unburdened. People can be free and still be burdened, and people can also not be free and be unburdened. As weirdly as that sounds. No, I sound dumb. I think it's the same question regardless of how I put it. So no, I don't consider myself. I try to make myself free. But I'd rather not be a burden to anybody else, and I gotta try not to be a burden to myself. I always try to see if I can spread positivity somewhere, and eventually it could change. But no, I don't consider myself free and unburdened. Do you value your individual? Oh yeah, of course. I do love myself. I do love being the strongest kaiju in fiction. I love doing that. It's always been a habit of my own that I truly enjoy. Expressing myself and expressing my character. Heck, I can't wait to even. Well, I should do more with character, but of course I'd rather things to feel like me. Because obviously, who would you watch anyone but for themselves? I mean, come on now. Would you watch someone just because of a character? No, of course you would want to know about them and their character. So of course I respect my individuality, especially my personality, how I feel, even if some people may not agree with it. I do value myself a lot. I do value my, you know, personality. Do you believe yourself as lawful or chaotic? Ooh, I would say chaotic because that's always been my life. Very very chaotic and strange. Of course, there is going to be a rule somewhere, but I would always say chaotic. Do I have morals? Yes. That if things breach too far, I'm not about that. But I think maybe I'm overdoing the lawful and the chaotic thing. So let me go double check to make sure I understand what it's talking about. Now, as much as I respect lawfulness, it does take away, a bigger feeling. It leaves you so close minded. You're not so open, and that's probably why I gotta say I'm more chaotic, if anything, because I don't expect anyone to know what they expect from me, as I'm a pretty chaotic individual. No pun intended. Seriously, I could be chill 1 minute, I could be loud and obnoxious another. You just won't know. I think that's what is befitting about me, and man, I will never stop saying, like, it's not something people will like per se, but to me, I adore it. Um, and I hope to make other people smile with that chaotic nature I have. And the times where I'm actually, being genuine. Well, my chaotic nature is still genuine. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Do you think good will one way or another always prevail? Personally, yes, but then things always, can always hit a stop. But it depends. Good and evil are meaningless, unimportant concepts. That's a pretty good one. I'm not gonna lie, because even some good intentions can always lead. Every choice that people make always leads to something. It's not my place to say, not talking to the right person if someone says that. Natural, neutral, not always. I'll probably say that one. Yeah, so we'll always prevail over evil. Most definitely agree with this one. So I know it sounds like a fantasy, but if you stay strong, yes, even if knocked down, it will stand up. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. No, the world is too dark and cruel. I want to. I want to avoid that mindset. No, evil tends to be stronger if you allow it. Yes, even if knocked down, it will stand up again. I personally agree with that one. What do you want the most in life? Success, to change the world, acceptance, love, and friendship, to achieve my goals, money and influence, respect, Answer: stability, comfort, freedom, power, unsure, to live, happiness. Now, a lot of these I want to do, right? There's so much I want in life. And I could probably chalk this up to success, right? To change the world, you know, I never thought about what I would want to change in the world. Maybe there is something I'm already doing that I feel like I want the world to change on. I don't know. For example, I can't actually no, there is no example. I don't see a world issue. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's some stuff that's going on in the world that I gotta pay more attention to, but if I put too much money into it, it's only gonna stress me and other people out. But then if we ignore it, it's gonna be in front of our doorstep, and then we're just gonna be sitting there complaining. You know what I mean? So I'm not too sure. Um, Other than that, I don't know what I would want to change unless I'm seeing something that I obviously don't like. I mean, yes, there's something online that I don't like to see, but it's not a world problem. You know what I'm saying? Um, Acceptance. Oh yeah, of course. I find acceptance always important, especially with who you're looking towards. Love and friendship. I have a lot of friends. You know, love. I do want that. Yes, but who says it can be platonic love either? You know, I always feel very empty. You know, like I don't feel like I get enough appreciation. Oh, I always kind of strive for that to achieve my goals. Most certainly, money and influence. You know, I don't find this as bad either. I know when most people hear that, it sounds like, oh, this person probably have it for malicious reasons. But I think it depends on like who. Like I encountered a friend that was just like, well, they're not friends now because this was their mindset to reach the top, regardless of anything, and even if they even lie and manipulate their way through it. Respect, shoot, I always throw that to everybody's face. I think respect is golden. Happiness, wouldn't we all? Pretty sure none of us would want to live in a world where it's so dark and gloomy, but yet, you know, happiness comes in many forms. To live, I don't know anyone that wouldn't want to live. Power, I think if anyone had the power to change the world, there will always be something that will make it feel unbalanced. So I'm kind of glad that we all, as people, have to work together and unify to understand what kind of power we want. Freedom. Freedom comes at a cost, I believe. You know what I mean? It's hard to achieve freedom, stability, and comfort. I, I can't even argue with this one. Answers. You know, we all want answers, but having them can also make us, drive us crazy. Identity. Hmm. Doesn't that come with success? And all of this just feels like success to me. But then again, I also want to achieve my goals. But achieving your goals also counts as success, right? I would say I want success. I mean, it kind of sounds like some of these I already want to do. Because a lot of things I want to succeed in. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it, but I would personally say to either success or to achieve my goals. I would say success. Generally speaking, which category do your fears mostly fall under? Medical illness, doctors, and injections. Oh, I had a history with illness. Sorry if I had to stop for a minute. Death, change, and lacking control. I would say death is scary. Change? I'm a person that try to break out the comfort zone. The comfort zone isn't something you're supposed to always stay in. It's something that you're supposed to, you know, break. At least in my opinion, you're supposed to break it. Because if we always stayed in our comfort zone, well, we wouldn't be who we are today, no, would we? Natural. Oceans, darkness, and disasters. Hmm. Animal, spiders. Yeah, I think animals is like crazy, right? A furry has a bigger fear of this than anything. Situations, loneliness, crowds, being on a plane. That's also another one. And I think situations can tie into a lot of these. So I would have to I'm in between because then it can also lead to actions. You see where this like messes with me? Um I would say situations because there I always think and plan in my head like situations that could happen or the worst that could happen, and it's scary. Out of these options, what situation make you personally most angry or disappointed or sad at? Someone being impatient, whiny, and unreasonable. I agree. Someone making an extremely poor, thoughtless decision. I know one of these, if I remember correct, one of these really grinds my gears, even though a lot of these already do. Um, Someone being two faced, a liar, genuinely untrustworthy, and unreliable. Is it weird that even I forgive people that are two faced? Maybe it's weird. Do I personally say I like can completely trust them? No. It just means if I catch them again, I don't think I can really want to talk to them again. Someone having their passion for something completely ruined. Oh yeah, certainly. That would annoy me. Someone being unreasonably cruel or mean. Yeah, that's another one. Someone giving up before they even bothered to try. I wouldn't say it's gonna make me like. I mean, disappointing. Yeah, but it wouldn't make me like you know, someone avoiding situations out of fear. I don't think that's really worth being. Someone being self-deprecated or pessimistic to an unhealthy degree. I mean, yeah, I hear it a lot, but it's not like something that's like worth. Someone being unhealthily codependent on a partner, friend, family member, etc. I don't think that's someone being disrespected or disregarded. Oh yeah, yeah, that's another one that like hits the books. Someone giving up on their dreams because it was too difficult. Uh, I wouldn't say much to that one. Someone not standing up for themselves. Someone not standing up for themselves when it matters most. I'll go with the defense. What you talking about? So no, I wouldn't really. I mean, yes, it's really important that you should teach someone to stand up for themselves. You know, it's important that you stand up for yourselves. Uh, Certainly, in certain situations, you need to stand up for yourself. So we're not being punished for terrible actions. Kinda. I wouldn't say I'm like all about. It depends on the action, but I wouldn't say it's gonna throw me up in arms. Someone being forced to fit into an arbitrary or harmful standard. You know, I I have a personal experience. Well, not personal experience, but personal. At least hearing it. I'm gonna pick this one either way. Forgot. This one and the one below kind of speaks, but there's a reason why this one hits different. Someone personal that I know that I hope I'm not too late to save. But we're not about that right now. Let's not make this quiz strange. Of these options, what do you personally view as your greatest quality? Generosity. I'm always generous. I know, my friends got on my case about me being generous. Um, I used to do a lot of avatars with people. I still kind of do now. Out the kindness in my heart. But then, you know, someone I consider a bro online is like, don't do that, and it's like, well, because it's not gonna get you far in life if you're just sitting there being kind. I'm like, yeah, he's right. Just being kind is not gonna get you far in life at all. So that's why I'm doing this. Is one of my things to make it work. Honesty. Well, certainly, I love honesty. Honesty is something that should always be a given. I respect people that are honest, full heartedly. Empathy. I think empathy is a pretty good quality. Um, I'm always empathetic. Um, It's slowly changed, as in like no, I think understanding someone is still empathy. Intelligence, wouldn't say that's my greatest quality. Fortitude, I would say uniqueness is my greatest quality. Fortitude, nah. Resilience, I don't think I'm that strong and resilient. Honor, that kind of speaks to me, but not to the highest degree. You know what I'm saying? Assertiveness, I probably should try that more, but I'm always quiet when someone's doing something that gets on my nerves. Passion, can't argue with that one. Optimism, nah. Wisdom, I don't think I'm even wise. Uniqueness and reason. I don't think I don't know because I always try to be rational, but wouldn't that count as reason? But I always try to make myself stand out from everybody else, and I always view my uniqueness so much different than everybody else. I'll give it to uniqueness. Which of these sins do you suffer the most? Pride, greed, lust, sloth, envy, gluttony, and wrath. I'm in between envy and sloth. Well, envy has been slowly been doing away. I don't really like care much. It's probably not gluttony, but I would say like life wise, it has to be sloth. Like sloth is my probably the greatest sin ever. Well, obviously, there's no sin great. You know what I mean? It's something I've greatly done. Which of these virtues do you practice the most? Faith, fortitude, hope, charity, prudence, temperance, and justice. I hope in a lot of things and I hope in a lot of people. I always hope, so I would say hope is my. How do you even practice that when it's just all you do? You hope for the best. Charity, I would love to do more of that. Faith, my grandmother always tell me I should practice in this. I don't know why I don't. I always treat hope and faith as the same. Weirdly enough, I'm obviously they're different, but to some key aspects, I think they're similar. Prudence and temperance, I forgot what they were. I'll look it up. Hold on. So prudence is pretty much cautiousness. Prudence and consciousness, and temperance is pretty much restraint. Uh, no, because if I had caution, I wouldn't be so. I guess socially, I'm like cautious, or is that kind of a nah? That's kind of a lie because I do feel as though like I should not be limited to anybody or anything, and I make my own path. So it has to be hope, right? Let me double check fortitude real quick. Okay, courage and pain. What? Okay, yeah. So like, I think it's clear that hope is my thing. Right? It's always been hope. But then again, I always try to seek understanding which justifiably right or which justifiably wrong. All right, I think we lacked on this too much. I do believe it's hope because in my position, all I can do is hope. Right? Do you believe anyone can be a good person if they just try? Yes, I believe people can change, but I've encountered people that just won't. Somewhat, but some things can't be forgiven no matter how hard you try. Maybe it's hard to say. Not really. Some people will never bother to change. Not all. Some people are just born evil. That's not for me to decide. BS. Maybe not. It's hard to say. I would say somewhat. Some things can't be forgiven no matter how hard you try. You know, and people I've encountered, it's it's always been a rare occurrence if they change. Like back then I was always so nice, I was very caring, and yet people try to force me into what they want and I don't agree with that, and they just up and leave. Like there was one time, one like me and him are not cool, that the friend actually came back because he saw like the purple color, because I like royal purple, and then he thought about me and he say like had therapy and such, and he actually changed, and we're actually cool. It's always nice to see him, and I'm always happy to see him. So as much as like how everything went down, it was stupid, but it was always great, you know, to always see him say hi or show me his little meme that he found. It's very nice. So I will admit, yeah, not really. Some people will never bother to change. Some people, not all people, and some people don't. Um, they don't. Of course, they don't change within an instant. They don't change within a month. Um, it may take a year, just like how my the person I just mentioned did. It might take longer than you think for them to change. But then there's someone that I used to know still choosing to be vile is someone that won't change. So I will say, not really. Some people will never bother to change. Did you notice the amount of questions on this quiz? How do you feel about it? Notice annoyed or bothered. Notice I'm excited or happy. Notice don't really care one way or another. I didn't notice I'm annoyed. Uh, I didn't notice I'm excited or happy. I didn't notice I don't really care. Either way, I don't know how to feel regardless if I noticed or not. Um, I noticed. Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. How often do you have to hold a grudge? So, how I feel about this question is very interesting. Yes, I have grudges. I have grudges. Um, do I rather just think it's okay to just make it other people's problem? Not exactly, no, unless it's like a question that's being presented for someone to ask. Um, if everyone's having fun, should I ruin it for everybody else? No, that that's not something you should do. Your grudge cannot be that important. You know what I'm saying? It should never drown out other things that's going on. So I'm going to say sometimes. Are you happy? With all the stuff that's going on in my life, it's better to be happy than not happy, you know what I'm saying? There's still joy in it. If you put yourself in a cycle of unhappiness, then you aren't going to be happy. Are you religious or spiritual in any form? Is your faith or lack thereof important to your life goals or views? I feel that's gonna be a video topic on itself because I know eventually someone's gonna ask me the question because I literally had a friend was like, "Wait, are you religious?" And I'm like, "Well, kinda." It's more of like a passed down thing, and I have a grandmother and a great grandmother and someone that I used to know. It was a counselor. They're all Christian, and of course, since my grandmother and great grandmother is Catholic, of course, it's something I put it onto myself. Now, some of you are probably curious in the Buddha thing. Um, I've seen a bit about Buddhas. I'm gonna look more into it eventually. Just not now. Same with me having to read the Bible. That's probably something I'm doing in the future. I'm only 22, man. I'm not. I don't feel like. I don't feel like doing all that. There's always stuff in life that I gotta make better for myself before I do anything about that or want to share anything about that. But as of right now, no. It's something I should be looking into or diving into. Yes, but no. But God is real to me. No, I'm neither. It's generally unimportant to my life. Sort of. I'm what, and that's another thing. I'm not gonna like push that like in faces or anything. But anyway, no, I'm neither. That's false. Sort of. One, but not the other. Genuinely unimportant to my life. Yes, I am both spiritual and religious. It's genuinely unimportant to my life. Um, no, I'm neither. It's genuinely unimportant to my life. Sort of. I am one, not the other. Is spiritual but not religious. It's not. It is genuinely important to my life. Yes, I'm spiritual and religious. It is genuinely. Um. So with what I just described, I would have to put in sorta, right? Because I'm not looking into it now, and I don't make it like my entire life thing. So I would have to give a sort of. We're in the final stretch now, just a little longer. You'll get your results. Bear with me a bit longer. All right. So here's a sort of break question: which treat do you want to get? This is a freebie question. If you like question you like may think it is, so please think on it before answering. I forgot what I put last time, but I do believe I'm integrity, but I don't like giving up either. Voice, mm, conviction, and ambition. I think it's arguable. I would say I'm arguably ambitious. Mind. That's always been my thing. I wouldn't say I'm smart when it comes to me having the mind. You know what I'm saying? Bravery. I wouldn't say I'm very brave, but I do like to state my point. Um, kindness. I would say majority kind. Patience. I think I'm patient to an extent. You know what I'm saying? Like depending on what I'm getting or asking for and needing, I am patient. Integrity. Yes, I would say I'm more integrity if anything. Determination. I would say first of all, glory sounds goofy. I'm I would say I'm integrity. You know, integrity just feels like it makes sense, especially to like me because I have a firm belief. But wouldn't that be conviction? Let me double check. Huh, I thought conviction was like strong belief, but apparently it has something to do with like law stuff. Huh. Ambition? Okay, so I'm in between integrity and ambition, but maybe some perseverance. But I think all that just leads to determination, doesn't it? I would say integrity. More questions that you are forced to choose between. These ones would be the potential tiebreakers. Do you prefer to take things slowly or rush through it? This doesn't help how I said it earlier, but I said like I think I was a bit too fast. But this time I actually, took time to take it slow. But if I had to concur like my other projects instead of this one, I would say take it slow. I'm pretty take it slow guy. Would you rather do something illegal but morally right for no personal benefit, stealing so your loved one doesn't go hungry, or something legal but morally questionable for personal benefit, someone charging extra so you can get a better paycheck, or charging someone extra so you get a better paycheck? I would say illegal but morally right. I I do value the heart of people, even if it's questionable from a legal thought. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? I keep saying I'm an introvert, but apparently I'm not because apparently I got the charisma according to my friends. I just like breaking the tiebreaker. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like I'd rather like try to break or breach the ice if possible. But I guess that's not very introverted, isn't it? If you're out there and well, me sharing this, does it still make me an introvert? So I would say extrovert. Do you prefer to try new and interesting hobbies, or do you prefer to stick with what you're already good at? I would say try new hobbies. There's like a lot of things I can do. Like, I don't want to just do avatar work. I want to do 3D animation. I want to get better at art. There's so much. Do you prefer to support people materially, buying someone food to help them feel better, or emotion? I like to do both. Giving advice to someone after a breakup. I would like to do both, but I'm literally unable to do materially unless you count as like avatars for friends. But buying, so I wish I don't even get money to do that. I would say I'm good at emotionally. Select the answer. There we go. Do you care about knowing every detail of a subject, or do you not particularly care about having all the facts? I prefer to know everything so I can get a better understanding of who, the setting, and why. You know what I mean? Because there's so much to a subject that matters. Some people would just like brush off and then it just hits you later. You know what I mean? Would you rather make your views known at the cost of being ridiculed or hated, or silent about what you really think so you can fit in. Well, like I said, person to break the ice. I met a lot of people that stay silent to fit in because they're scared of, I don't know, either losing that friend group or losing. But it's like, if you feel that way, why are you? I don't think that's something good for you. So yeah, I'd rather make my views known. And that's it. Thanks for taking this absurdly long quiz. It took me a while to make. Hopefully you like the results. If you don't, then sorry. This will not impact your results. And the say about that, I used to try to fit in. I think I probably mentioned this preview. I tried to fit in. It just did not work. It didn't. It genuinely didn't. Don't try to fit in with people. Be sure to be with people that actually like you, your personality, and who you are. That is always gonna be my thing. So now that we're at the end of this quiz, let's see what I got. I still got determination. Okay. I guess I am a determined person. I don't like giving up. I think back then I probably could have been what? Maybe I still would have been determination, but I don't know. If I could like try to remember everything I did back then, if I could, I would probably say I am either kindness or patience. You don't listen to people who think you're weird or cringe. You are you, no matter the oddities and the quirks. And that's the best thing about you. Don't ever forget that. Greatest quality, uniqueness, behavior, eccentricity, and out of behavior is conformity. Shared attributes, individuality, independence, and amendments, confidence. Yep, I've read all this before. When I first previously did the quiz. Associated color red. You're most likely to be friends with ambition and perseverance. Your paired opposite trait is conviction. Fragments. Yeah, I love that song, by the way. I love Fragments by Stupendium. Through chance may choose our canvas. Only we can paint the hues, but your flaws don't mean you're broken. They're just a deeper shade of you. Oh, that's my soul color. I made it to the end. I hey, tell me what soul color you got. Do you think I'm determination? That's something that's also something you probably could tell me. Do you guys think of determination, or do you think of something else? Well, it's probably is only a good answer for people that have seen the content I've done, but yeah. Have a good one. Bye bye. Also, in the thumbnail, you see my enlightened heart that's in the middle. Yeah, they should make an enlightened soul. I think I'm an enlightened individual. I'm the enlightened soul type. Anyway, like and subscribe. Bye bye for all this time.